Good morning, everyone. So we're on day 2 of fairway aeration. We're using the Toro Pro Core 648. We're going down with 1/2-inch tines, and we're going down just about 5 inches in depth. So we're running it at 2 speed of, well, right down to there. So 2 inches. Every 2 inches it makes a little aeration hole, and we just have 6 more greens left to do this morning. So practice green 1, 2, and part of 3 is done. So about 6.5 greens left to do, and it's a really beautiful morning. Although I'm a little worried about frost. I pulled in the driveway, it's about 37. So some of the areas may have frost, but I'm going to start at 6 and 9, and those are closer to the clubhouse, so they shouldn't necessarily have frost on them. But it's just getting light enough here. It's about 6:30 where I can actually see. Of course, the iPhone does a better job at showing light than what my actual eye does. So we're going to get after it here with the Toro Pro Core, fill it up with gas, and get her moving. All right, well, as you can see, we ran into some issues. I hit a rock with one of the tines, it bent the tine, and then it bent the guard. So what I needed to do was cut off the guard once one of my helpers dropped the saw. So now we're not dragging anymore. And another issue is I broke a bolt off that actually holds the tines into place. So we're dealing with that right now. Of course, I rented this unit from Supreme. Awesome golf course, check it out. And I don't have any bolts here that would fit it, because the bolts that I have for my John Deere Aircore are different. Of course they would be, because it's a John Deere, why not? But we're dealing with it. It's only one time. It's not a huge deal. I just have to make sure this side is a little bit overlapping a little bit more. So essentially this is just taking a long time, and we've only got really 3 more greens left to do. I've got half of this one done. I think half of hole 3 is done, and I've got 4 or 5 left. So otherwise it's going well. It's just taking forever. But essentially, I'm letting this hang over a little bit more. That right tine is missing, which is good that I broke that bolt off and not another bolt. I mean, it's not the worst case scenario. So essentially now I just have to overlap, like I said, but got that issue fixed. But that won't be a big issue anyway once I get sand on and roll over it. But these greens really in a couple weeks will be basically unnoticeable, because these are 1/2-inch tines, and everything for the most part is going good. It's just minor stuff that's going wrong so far, but otherwise everything else has gone pretty good. It's a beautiful day to be doing this. The high is supposed to be about 68. I am going to throw some fertilizer on this as well after I get done, probably tomorrow. I'll throw some fertilizer down when I actually have some time in my life. As well. So this really should grow in quite well. Well, we're still going. It's taking the average of an hour per green, because I've been having to fix the tines constantly, just putting them back in. And this is taking a lot longer than expected here, which isn't great, because I've still got a 1/2 a green to do, and the biggest course, number 4. So I've pretty much got another 2 hours left doing this, which is just, oh my goodness. But this is aeration every year. Just, it never fails to me at how long aeration takes on the golf course. Even for me, it's just a nightmare golf course. So, oh, I can't wait to be done. The season's almost over with, which is good. But at least it's a beautiful day. We've got 65 degrees and sunny, so I can at least see what's going on. As of last night, I couldn't see what was going on. Our fault. Alright, so to conclude the aeration here, all I have left to do is put some fertilizer on the greens here and roll this in. So I'm going to roll the sand in here. It did get watered in. As you can see, I ran irrigation last night. The greens are very, very soft right now, as they should be. So now they're going to be wet enough so I can roll, and frankly, I don't have time to roll this in tonight or today during the afternoon, because I've got to meet with the Callaway rep at 11:30. And then that is in Eau Claire, so I won't get back until I have golf practice. So I will have zero time today to roll this in when it's dry out. So hopefully I can find somebody to do that. But I will put cups in now, as these are full of sand. And then what I will do after that is roll before the patrons get here, hopefully. And then after that, I will spread some fertilizer down. But what I'm really worried about here is where the tractor drove over the greens. Hopefully this is wet enough where I can just roll over some of these spots where the tractor went. In the end, it all works out. But some of this sand here, I'm not too happy with it. You can see some of the chunks are a little bit bigger than what I'd like. And this is apparently screened masonry sand. So I'm a little surprised at the quality that I got. I wish it would be a little bit better. But with that being said, this is one of the worst greens on the course in terms of tracks and in terms of sand still on the green. But most of all, I figured it actually rolled in pretty well. It brushed in pretty well. So once I get done with what I need to, yes, always those first few days of aeration, especially when you don't have the correct brush or the correct equipment, is always tough. But that's okay. I'm not overly worried about it. It all works out in the end. In a week here, when this is all brushed in and rolled in, it's going to look a heck of a lot better than what it does right now. And essentially what I did was, again, to reiterate it here, I went 2 inches apart, roughly between tines, and then I used a 1/2 inch tine, a solid tine that went 5 inches down, and I went about 2 inches apart between tines. So it was very slow. The process took a lot longer than I thought, but what this is going to do is even increase the root depth more than what it was, and help relieve some of that compaction as I pushed it down, and maybe help a little bit with thatch, although I don't have a huge thatch problem on these greens, so I'm not too worried about that. But what it is going to do is help those roots grow a little bit deeper, which is what I need on these greens. Specifically, when I took this golf course over, the root structure was not great on the greens, so what I need to do is help that root structure grow a little bit more. But as you can see, there's a lot of sand on the edges here that needs to be brushed in a little bit better, so we'll do that today too, brush a little bit more of the sand in here. So we'll get on with that. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of sand, but not to worry, the roller will compact that all into the green eventually. I'm going to probably try to roll once to twice per day, and the patrons are just going to have to put up with it here with the fall rates. But honestly, if I didn't want to sand, I could have just mowed and then rolled it, and it wouldn't take long for these little holes to grow back in. They're really not that big. So that's something to think about in the future when I do aeration as well. But I like to sand it just for the sake of compaction and to air the green out a little bit more here. And that does seem to work quite well on the golf course. So yeah, all right guys, well, with that being said here, we'll leave you with a pretty picture of my beautiful golf course, and see you in the next episode.